little bit cooler temperatures and the humidity is up, that's going to make it difficult, or the spread rate is going to be much slower, meaning how quickly that fire is going to entrench itself and run up the hillside. That helicopter right now is starting to set up. The LA City Fire is setting up to do that drop. Might do it. There he is. He's doing a high drop right there. So it's going to be doing basically misting up high, knocking down the stuff that's climbing to the top right there. Of course, fire department on the ground. I'm going to find you we're hearing them talking about making their way up that dirt road. There they are. So that's going to be some of those hand crews that are probably going to start making their way up to that location here shortly. Looks like they might have gotten a little bit stuck there. So we're going to keep an eye on that as well. But the fire crews making their way to the actual fire itself. And of course, we saw 2 water drops now from the helicopters, and the LA City Fire making their way on the ground out there as well. The winds seem to be very, very light this evening, and you can see right now what we've always been talking about when the fire department says the word terrain-driven, meaning that it's up a hillside. Just in the few moments that we've been here, the flames that were down low in that, where it's basically where we think this thing started, you can see how they're really starting to spread, and they're going to heat the brush ahead of it, and it's just going to create this kind of run up the hillside. So that's what we're seeing. The guys on the ground, they're having a little bit of a trouble making access to the fire, but so we're going to keep an eye on it. There comes another water drop from I believe that's going to, it's going to be the LA City Fire helicopter. They've got water very, very close by, so they're going to be picking up water probably right above the Hollywood sign. That's where they're going to be picking up the water right there. That's one of the places where it is set up. Very close by, and in this case they don't fill like LA County. They actually land and they're actually filled from a spigot on the ground. No, Jeff, they won't. We haven't heard anything about that, and of course the investigation, that'll happen a little bit later on, unless it's something very obvious. A lot of times on these brush fires, we'll see that they'll actually see an area where it started, and we'll see red tape around that area. That indicates that's the ignition point, and they're going to do an investigation. In this case right now, there are actually no firefighters at all down there on that dirt trail. We did see that one ranger make his way up that road right there. Basically has moved on. The LA City Fire folk, we do understand there is no county assets on this fire yet. That doesn't mean they might not be sending a helicopter, but right now they have got 2 water dropping helicopters, another one just leaving the Hollywood sign right now, so another drop. So there's going to be the 3rd one in just a short amount of time. So as soon as they get those guys on the ground, and of course they continue to bombard it from the air, these flames, they're going to have a tough time entrenching themselves, and thank goodness for that. No homes in the area, but of course, like you said, the Griffith Observatory up here, it is open, and you can see a number of folks out there not looking at the stars this evening. They're taking a look at the smoke and the fire down at the bottom of the hill. Oh. Why did you say you were sorry, though? You're sorry you're coming back? I'm just messing with you. Miss you, Paul. We don't hang out anymore. We used to hang out all the time. Did they get that truck unstuck? Oh, yeah, they did. There they go. 1 minute, copy. Bigger than a quarter of an acre. No, definitely, you can see that one engine. That was the one that was stuck a little bit earlier on. Now you can see it is, they've got it unstuck and it's made its way to the base of that fire. So that truck has water. They've got a couple of hand crews guys down there right now. They're going to start pulling those hose lines, making their way up to where that fire was. But take a look, in just that short amount of time, how quickly this thing has run up that hillside. You can see a lot of chaparral up here as well. That's the greenery that we're showing you in the lower part of the screen. It's basically the same stuff that is burning right now. Once that fire starts getting on that uphill run, it just heats it and it just burns and heats and burns and heats and burns. Now the folks up at the Griffith Observatory, you can see a large amount of folks up here, probably out here for the Griffith Observatory, for the view, and of course the looking at the stars. Right now they're all kind of milling about at this one overlook. Those flames, it might look like they're super close. Hopefully they're not as close as they appear to be, but there are a lot of units from LA City Fire. Through the smoke, you can see them in the parking lot. So if those flames get close to that top, they are definitely going to pull out those hose lines. They're going to start putting some water on it. They're going to keep an eye on it. There's that LA City Fire helicopter doing a drop up towards the top, high and wide, that kind of misty, cooling down the ground in front of the flames and then knocking down some of those, the flames themselves. That's going to slow the movement, and basically just that little bit of slowing down might be just enough they need to really start getting a handle on it. Now with that, but combined with the guys on the ground that are just making their way to that bottom of that fire, this is still a very active fire. There is no homes in the area. We know the Griffith Park Observatory itself is nearby. Don't think it's an immediate danger, but of course you've got to wonder with all that public out there and the number of folks out here as well. They're going to keep an eye on this. I haven't heard the words of mandatory evacuations or even talking about that yet, but if they do, those folk are going to have to leave pretty quickly. Right now, though, LA City Fire is out here, and they are battling these flames. As far as the size, you know, the initial call was about a quarter acre. It has grown quite a bit just in the time we've been here. You know, Jeff, I was information, and I'm being told that I was wrong about that. Basically, the observatory is on a road, and the road continues on. There's one road, but there is it's basically on the side of the road. So they have two ways in and out of here right now.
There's a backside.
Yeah, there's a back way through. It might be a one-way road, though. As you see the arrows, maybe that's where the confusion was. But the way the fire trucks came up, the crews can leave the opposite direction. The folk here can leave in that opposite direction. That might might have been where the confusion was earlier on. You can see the folks out there milling about. I'm sure that there are officials up here, and where they were standing on that overlook now seems to be only a couple of people, so I can almost guarantee you somebody down there in authority is probably saying you guys need to move along. These flames, though, they haven't really slowed down that much. There's still a lot of active fire out here. LA City Fire not being joined by LA County Fire today, basically battling this. We've seen at least 4 water drops right now. Where are they getting the water? Let's show you that real quick too. Make a quick pan here. There's the Hollywood sign, and right above the Hollywood sign there on Mount Lee, that's the actual name of that mountain, there's an actual spot. It's a heli-spot for the LA City Fire. You can see the crews down there right now, the helicopter on the ground, the hoses are out, and that's how they fill it. So basically they land, they hook that thing up, and they fill that tank very quickly. They have 2 helicopters that we know of, so they're basically just doing like a bucket brigade, and they just keep picking up the water, bringing it over and dropping it. And of course the crews that are down there, they're just starting to make access. You can see that one hairpin giving the LA City Fire a little bit of trouble, and now you can see more fire trucks right there. So that's going to be the issue, but as soon as they get those trucks around that corner, you can see that one squeaking by right there. As soon as they start getting up there, all those trucks have water, and of course the pumps to move that water, so they're going to have a lot of resources on scene, and hopefully they're going to get these flames under control.
Yeah,
shortly.
those are fire roads that can get them up there. We'll continue to follow this story of a brush fire in the Hollywood Hills near the Griffith Observatory. When we come back, let Markina Brown, a meteorologist, kind of give us an update on what the weather is like. Stay with us here on KCAL 9.
This charming Midwestern family boasts 2.5 kids and walk-in in-laws. Perfect for the right agent.
Hey Mark, how you doing? Hey, Facebookers, I can talk to you real quick while we're in commercial break. LA City Fire moving their fancy helicopters around today. Those are the Augustas, right? Augustas, pilots, Augustas. I got 2 pilots up here today. Augusta 139. Not quite the Firehawk, and the reason why I say that is the Firehawk can carry a lot more water, but these are very fast-moving helicopters, so maybe that's kind of you're trading a little bit of a speed for gallonage. Right now, though, these flames are still continuing to climb up this hillside. Access was an issue, obviously. We've been watching it. You can see a number of folk up here at the Griffith Observatory. Earlier on, it was my bad. Somebody was saying something about one way in, one way out. But that means it's a one-way road is what they're talking about. So it isn't like it's a dead end. And I'm sure the city planners wouldn't have built it like that anyway. But you got an idea how close this is to a very iconic spot out here in the Hollywood Hills. That's going to be the Griffith Observatory right there. Those flames definitely creeping closer and closer up to the top of the hill. Will it get to the observatory? You know, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that right now. LA City Fire, these guys are professionals. They know what they're doing. And with the resources they have here, they're going to get this thing under control quickly. But take a look how much it's spotting out here. That's going to create a timeline. They're going to be out here battling these flames probably for quite some time, just because of all that spotting and the ruddiness, and then of course the location. It is in a difficult spot. It's very rugged out here. They are battling from the air. It's definitely gaining, Jeff, and you know it is actually spreading out. We were watching that as well. They're getting a lot of different little hot spots in areas where it could catch into other pieces of brush, and that's how these fires do usually spread. That's going to be the fire behavior. Now, LA City Fire, these guys, they are trained for this. They know how this is going to be moving. There's another drop from the LA City Fire helicopter on that one hot spot we've been watching that had been creeping very, very close to the top of the hillside. I'm sure that the firefighters in those helicopters working with the guys on the ground. They aren't just picking these spots on their own. They're looking at these spots, and there's somebody telling them, you know what, we need to get this one, we need to get that one, and that's how it's working. This overlook earlier on was filled with spectators that were up here at the Griffith Observatory earlier on looking at the flames making their way up the hillside. Those folks now gone. LA City Fire brought in a truck, maybe 2 trucks, and they're pulling some hose lines right there. So if those flames start getting within reach of those lines, they'll probably start putting some water on it as well. Folks at home might be saying, why aren't they just spraying it down? Well, they have to be effective with this. The water sources, they probably have spigots up, hydrants up there that can fill those trucks up, but they're going to want to be effective. Their idea isn't just to try to hose things down like you see right there, but they want to basically be effective. They want to hit those hot spots as they get closer. Right now, though, that's the first hose line we've seen from the top to the bottom. Now let's take a look what's going on at the bottom of the hill. That was where a lot of the issues were earlier on. LA City was having a little bit of difficulty on these fire roads. We can see one engine down there right now and a Suburban. That Suburban, probably a Chief. And of course, other trucks making their way up to that location. When they get there, fire crews will probably start climbing up that hillside, start doing that really difficult work of basically just hitting those spots, those hot spots at the bottom. But those helicopters, look at how amazing the work they're doing on this one. You can see most of that bulk of the fire now almost out. That's probably the fifth drop that we've seen this evening. And you can see it. It's really starting to make a difference. A lot of those bright hot spots are out, but there's still a lot of little ones that could be problems for later. All right, I got to start doing something with the colors. Let's see if it's going to be happy to do that. Hey, TOC, we have a new monitor that isn't a Bolin, and my monitor looks correct right now, but my other ones look a little blue. How do you guys feel about the picture? Yeah, it looks, doesn't it look blue? All right, thanks. Thank you. Thank you, G. All right, I've been on the Twitter. Let me see if I can open up the Facebook and see what you guys are asking about, talking about, complaining about, criticizing me, making me cry. No, I'm just joking, guys. Shelly's watching, and Edison, 2 of my favorite people. Actually, you're all my favorites, but Edison and Shelly actually talk to me. They're not just voices in my head like you guys. Brennan says, hey, Shelly. See, thank you, Juan. Thank you. I thought I cleaned it up. Let me see. Maybe I'll dial it all out. Is the zoo okay? It's very far from the zoo. The animals at the zoo are not going to be affected. Go ahead, assignment test. Go ahead. Copy all. Thank you. Stand by. That's a little heat. Marty. They're making great work on it. We're getting a little heat there from the exhaust from our helicopter this evening. But you can take a look as we get a little bit wider. I was staying tight on those some of those flames right there. The numbers already are growing. Obviously, in the end, we'll get some solid numbers. But right now, they're saying that it's almost 2 acres have been burning out here this evening. LA City Fire here on scene, and we were talking about the weather conditions. That is hugely favorable for LA City Fire for this evening. Light winds, high humidity. As I actually look out towards the shoreline, it is completely covered in clouds, so we know there's a lot of humidity out here, and it's cooler. So these are very, very favorable conditions for the firefighters. But it doesn't really slow the flames down that much. We watched as this started out as a very small quarter-acre fire when we first arrived here on scene. It was a pretty small fire at the bottom of that hillside, but then it grew very quickly. Very close to Griffith Observatory. A lot of folks out here this evening. LA City Fire arriving here on scene. The first units, they were actually asking for backup. We understand 5 engines and a bunch of they call them hand crews, but basically those are the guys that are got the shovels and the backpacks, and we see them walking around and climbing those hillsides. So they're asking for additional units of those guys, and then of course extra engines out here as well. Access. That has been the biggest problem. If this fire was closer by or closer to the top of the hill or easier to get to, I'm sure these guys from LA City Fire would have had this out lickety-split. But because of where it is, this is actually in a crevice, very, very close to the Griffith Observatory. If you guys are just joining us, there's the actual observatory itself. Was open earlier on. All those folks were out there looking at these flames and watching as LA City Fire arriving here and using their helicopters to drop water. The ground crews, let's take a look what's going on right there. These are going to be fire access roads. Also, they're going to be trails that they hike on. You can see those engines having a little bit of difficulty this evening negotiating those hairpin turns, and that's one of the reasons why I'm saying access is an issue. By no means are these guys not doing the best that they can. They are, but the access is going to be difficult. LA City Fire, though, those helicopters, access, not so difficult. Take a look at that. Another drop right there, and you can see they're basically switching sides. Earlier on, the flames were getting on the side that were closer to the Griffith Observatory. They really were hammering that. Most of the drops we saw were on those hot spots as they were climbing to the top. Now they're switching to the other side, so they're basically just kind of working these flames, trying to get all the bulk of the fire out. Containment numbers, we're not going to know about that for some time. Of course, though, as long as there's active fire, they're going to be out here. And even when there isn't, you know, these guys are out here. They're working, making sure that there are no hot spots and this thing cannot rekindle. As far as the Griffith Observatory, I'm still trying to figure out if they're doing evacuations. It looks like they just moved everybody closer to the actual building. Cool. Well, we've been watching as LA City Fire just trying to just conquer this this fire that's happening out here. It's in a very, very precarious spot. That's the best way to say it. When we first arrived here, it was a very small spot. It was putting out a lot of smoke. LA City Fire, you know what? They got out here. They assessed the situation very quickly, originally asking for 2 helicopters to show up out here, and they did arrive quickly, and they started dropping water. But the flames, it was very difficult to get to, especially with those ground crews. There's one spot down there, one access road. We saw 3, maybe 4 engines trying to make their way up that little tiny road. There's a couple of hairpins out there. This is going to be the 3rd engine that has actually made its way around that one tight hairpin, now starting to make its way up to where the bottom part of the fire is. But even as they get to this location here, those firefighters are going to have to pull out those hose lines and hook them up and then carry them up that hillside. It's very dark down there. You can make out some of those firefighters walking out of the darkness back down to the rigs, but those guys are actually pulling hose line and getting up to the bottom part of that fire and starting to work it from the bottom. Now, we do know the fire is going to work its way uphill much quicker. Now, LA City Fire, they have got crews up on the top over here, and this is in the area of Griffith Observatory. This is going to be one of the big overlooks, those overhangs that we have right there, and you can see the firefighters just turning their hoses back on there, kind of cooling the ground in front of it. They have slowed the forward progression, but it hasn't come to a stop. Slowed, not stopped the forward progression of that fire, meaning the flames that were working their way up that hillside have slowed down. Earlier on, they were moving very quickly. We saw a lot of brilliant fire, and then of course the helicopters, they saw that as well. Working with their commanders, they basically hit those spots and they put those flames out. The bright lights you're seeing right there, that's going to be a lot of LA City Fire trucks up here. There's a number of fire trucks up here on the top of this hill right now. We know there's a number making their way to the bottom as well. Of course, the helicopters continue to pummel this thing with the water that they're getting from Mount Lee, which is very close by. Now, as far as the sight picture for the flames goes, well, it does look like they are starting to get a handle on it. I'm not, definitely not anybody from LA City Fire. If they have one of the PIOs, they're the ones to say that. But just looking at it and seeing how they've been reacting, the flames really started to slow down out here. And of course, they're not going to stop until this thing is completely out. There's another one of those drops right there. This is one of the 2 Augustas that we have from LA City Fire, and they keep hitting that one spot, that palm tree. This time, it looks like they really got it. So they're going to, and of course, as soon as they get those spots out, they're going to start working lower and lower and lower until they get all those flames out. Of course, though, you can see how quickly it spread out here this evening. Those embers just kind of entrenched on that hillside. All of that's going to have to be out before they're even thinking about calling this any kind of knockdown. As far as the observatory goes, like Jeff was saying, they got a lot of the folks off of that overhang. We still see a lot of folks out there actually on that front lawn area, kind of keeping an eye on what's going on. Perhaps, not sure, but perhaps maybe their ride, meaning a bus or whatever, not there to take them out, take them down the hillside. All right. All right, we're in a commercial break. Where are they at? Let me see. Let me turn on. Let me get rid of the brush response. Let me open up LAPD. Something's going on in Wilshire. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mark. The scanner blew you out. What was that? All right. All right. Melrose and Spalding, copy all. That's what we were trying to figure out what was going on. There's a lot of PD activity down there. That's what we were looking at. Melrose and Spalding, next stop. You see them out there? I see Melrose and Spalding. Spalding, I think, is going to be closer to West Hollywood. We're going to the other one. And Facebookers, we're actually going to another large crowd response for LAPD. So we're going to be heading over there right now. I'm going to make the pretty pictures before it's not so pretty pictures, but you can see that cloud layer basically working its way in from the shoreline. You can see some of Hollywood right there as well. We're going to be dropping down out of the sky. If you guys were with us right now, this is like what was that? Wasn't Goliath? What was it? What was the one in Magic Mountain? That's what it feels like. Oh, my ears are popping. But anyways, just taking a look at the pretty clouds in the sunset. I'm looking out the window. We're heading to a LAPD large crowd call. Melrose and Spalding. All right, let me see. I don't see the PD down low. Oh, I want to. Where's the PD at? I don't see him. Oh, I see him. I got him finally. All right, what is going on? All right, I got to turn the show down. I got to figure out what is going on. This does not look like the usual Melrose crowd. I'm ready. One second. Oh, gosh. Okay. All right. Keep going. Triple X Tentacion. Yes. Hey, Paul, that was a yes for you, brother. Impromptu memorial for a rapper that passed away a year ago in Florida. XXX Tentacion. Tentacion. You want to do an orbit? Want to move around a little bit? You want to mix this up anyhow? All right, well. Just know we're going live, so, I mean, if you... Copy all. Good. Oh. Okay. Don't do that again. It's all good. Just letting you know. There is definitely a large crowd. They're actually calling this an impromptu memorial to XXX Extentation out here. It's on Melrose, very close to Fairfax. They're saying the exact cross is going to be spalling. You can see LAPD down there in force right now, large group out here. We haven't heard of any kind of confrontation, but definitely the spilling out onto the roadway, stopping the traffic, that got the LAPD's attention. Now, we do have some of these folks up on rooftops right now. You can see the LAPD lighting them up every now and then. That could be an issue in itself for the for being unruly. But right now, though, LAPD just kind of here, keeping an eye on what's going on. You can see crowds down there, at least one food truck. We haven't heard about any actual music or any kind of concert going on, but right now it is a very large crowd out here, and they said it's an impromptu memorial to the XXX Tentation. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Tentacion. And apparently what's going on right now is basically Melrose is completely shut down for a couple blocks around Fairfax as this crowd is here doing their memorial. LAPD, they're keeping an eye on it. We haven't heard about any kind of dispersal orders yet, but if this crowd continues to build, something that might change in the near future. You know, the folks up on the roof, somebody was making some comments about them. First time I've heard of them. Basically, you know, maybe they're just up there to get a better vantage point. Maybe they're up there just to get some better pictures. I don't know why they picked this spot. That's the one thing that I'm really kind of curious about. And with that type of mob, and I say mob now, not in any kind of derogatory way, but you can see how everybody's really packed in there, and how when the movement goes, everybody's mushed together. Now, if somebody falls down in there, that's how people really get hurt. That's how people can lose their lives. And I think that's one of the reasons why LAPD is so concerned right now. These folks are kind of compressed into one small area, and anytime there's some kind of movement like this, or any kind of large group with when everybody's kind of packed up against the wall, and then you've got some sort of stampede action. Anyway, injury, that's what they're concerned about. Safety, they don't want anybody to get hurt. We were saying that it was LAPD earlier on. I'm taking a look right now, just confirming that. I am trying to find out exactly where they're working this on one of their TAC channels so we can listen in. Right now, though, as it stands, no dispersal orders are being placed out here. It isn't confrontational as of yet. It is a very large group out here. If anybody knows exactly how to say the name and you want to write it down for me in a simple phonetic spelling for me, I'd love it. Anyways, I'm getting some information that we're going to have to do a breaking news tease, so I'm here for you guys. That you're right. The one crazy something, and it could change up very, very, very quick. Can we go check on the fire? The fire pretty much under control. That was one of the reasons why they sent us over here in the first place. But we will definitely probably be back for that later on as well. That taco truck, I don't know if they're doing brisk business or no business right now. You've got to kind of wonder with all these folk up against it. Again, you can see a little bit, dancing. I'm just going to leave it as dancing right now. We saw some what would almost appear to be almost moshing, but what's up? What's up, TOC? Impromptu concert for slain rapper draws huge crowd and the LAPD. All right, I just got it. I got the first one, and now I'm getting them all. Sot tease. All right, I'll do it right now if you guys have speed. All right, cool. An impromptu concert for a slain rapper draws a huge crowd and the LAPD. An impromptu concert for a slain rapper draws a huge crowd and the LAPD. Say breaking. Breaking news. Okay. Breaking news. An impromptu concert for a slain rapper draws a huge crowd and the LAPD. Let me try that one more time. And hey, folks on Facebook, this is live television, man. This is how it works. I'm playing, guys. All right, let me try one more time. Breaking news. An impromptu concert for a slain rapper draws huge crowds and the LAPD. Love you too, Lynn. Thank you. Dean, are you making fun of me? Ah, to be young again. I would have been the blonde dude. Is it what? Raining? Oh yeah, very, very, very hazy. It's a light marine layer, and I don't know. It was worse. It seems as like getting a little better. Yeah, all the helicopters moved it out. All right, I don't think we're going to the pursuit termination of Monrovia, so I'm going to use the scanner for LAPD and see if I can find what TAC channel this wound up on. Listening to me instead of music. What kind of music were you listening to? Cindy Williams. I don't know if this looks more like a mosh pit than a rap concert. But then again, it's been a long time since I've been to a rap concert. So maybe they've merged. Oh, El Fordor, you've got jokes, brother. I like it. Well, that's the thing. I used to get bruised up at the concerts where I danced kind of like that, if you can call that dancing. Jen, thank you. So, XXX, Tentacion. Jenny, I think Pat Harvey will be here later on tonight. Juan, you know what? We've got East Coast love on the West Coast. We don't play that. Sherry, the fire is pretty much almost out. I can ask, though. No, this is not a riot. This is an impromptu memorial for a rapper that recently has died in Florida. And it's XXX Tenton. At the Elvis concert. Matthew, that's a good one. Actually, that would have been Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids. So, and the Itch and Collapsing Lungs. Had tickets for Nirvana, see? Yeah, I would have loved to go see Nirvana. David, say my name. David, 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 David. When no one is around you, to say, baby, I love you. All right. Lillian, help me out. Tentacion. Tentacion. Thank you, John. I'm going to use that. Tentacion. 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 XXX Tentacion. XXX Tentacion. See? My people love me. Somebody's got it. So I got the official that that we're going to be at the El Sereno Independence Day Parade. So if anybody's El Sereno-esque and want to see Brennan's definitely going to be there. Marcos might be there. Stu's going to be there. We are honorary Grand Marshals, so we're going to be in the parade. So if you got nothing going on the 30th, and you're healed up from the mosh pit down there, you come by, check us out. I wish we could listen to the music. Maybe it would make more sense. Yeah. XXX Tentacion. Jeff knew who it was. I bet you Jeff's got him loaded up in the on his phone. I was going to say in the CD player, but nobody has a CD player anymore. Oh, Rachel, thank you. Looks like a good. Yes, sir. Control room. Go ahead. All right. Oh, I hope I have answers. That's Lena. Woo-hoo-hoo! Ho-ho! That's trust. Copy all. Juan and Lena. There goes another one. Whoa! Well, Juan, Lena, it's a little dark shot right now. Every now and then the light gets on there. Whoops, sorry, that was my bad. Every now and then the light will get on there. There are actually folks out here. We'll talk about the crowd here in just a second. I just want to see if this happens again. You can see this is a two-story building right here. The crowds are down there actually on Melrose, and there's people actually crowd diving about off this second-story building onto the crowd. They've seen two people do it so far. That's the reason why we're staying tight here. Don't want to see anybody get hurt, but this is one of the reasons why this impromptu crowd out here, when we're getting a little bit wider of a shot, you can really see what's going on, is such a problem for the LAPD this evening. Now, like we said, this is actually going to be on Melrose, right near the cross of Fairfax, and this is for a rapper, XXX Tentacion. XXX Tentacion. He was slain or murdered on the East Coast in the Miami area recently, and this crowd has come out today for a memorial. Now they have crowds actually on Melrose. We're seeing another large crowd starting to form back in the alleyway as well. Not sure why they picked this spot, but we can tell you Melrose is basically shut down for a couple of blocks right around the Fairfax area. This crowd getting a little rowdy at times, but LAPD not confrontational right now. This, what we're seeing right there is basically mosh dancing. They're doing that on purpose, and the folks that are in that crowd, they're choosing to be there right now. But you can see how tightly packed these folks are. And then, of course, every now and then we'll see somebody jumping off a rooftop, crowd diving. Very dangerous. You have to have a lot of trust that those folks on the ground are going to catch you. If they don't, you're right onto the concrete. Can't imagine that being a good scene at all. Right now, though, LAPD aware of the situation. They're choosing to stay loose and stay nearby. There hasn't been a dispersal order as of yet. That's the helicopter overhead. But this crowd continues to build out here in the Fairfax area. It's actually at the corner of Fairfax and Melrose. None at all, Juan. I was kind of hoping that maybe the assignment desk could pick it, figure out why they chose this one spot. It does seem like it was some sort of setup, meaning not set up in a bad way, but it was a spot that they chose. There's a taco truck out here in the front, and it does appear that they were here and they knew that this crowd was going to be here, and now we're seeing a bunch of folks behind the building as well. Don't know if this actual building is some sort of significance to that rapper, or perhaps maybe he was here at one time, but a very large crowd, mostly outside. Some of these folks on the rooftops. They've definitely shut down Melrose this evening, a couple of blocks around Fairfax. Right now, though, the LAPD is definitely aware. They were up close and right in this spot, but they backed off for right now. As long as it stays relatively peaceful, no damage, nobody gets hurt, I have a feeling that they might just let this ride out. But you can see that every now and then it does get a little bit more rowdy. Right now, though, it's just what they're saying is an impromptu memorial for XXX Tentacion. Copy. Yeah, let's move around. You got the helicopter lower than us, right? Good. It's Taco Tuesday. It is Taco Tuesday. Does anybody know why they chose this spot? Hey, assignment desk, does anybody know why they chose this spot? Now they're starting to start some fires down there. It's almost like they're taunting. They're taunting the crowd. I see some open flame every now and then, right up against the building. Sign in front of me. Oh, no, yeah, thank you guys. I did not see that. How is that the name of a business? I did not see it, and thank you, Robert, and thank you, Brendan. All right, let's keep coming around. I can't do anything with the shot because of the sign. Sorry, Marty. I can't do anything with the shot because of the sign. I can't push in. I thought you were just making a general comment about the crowd, Brennan. I was like, this is very far from the Peterson Museum, and I don't think that's the reason why they chose this spot. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Why not? Yeah, they're all up here with us. Let me see. Let me see if I can find. Oh yeah, they're right across the street. They're basically just. You can see them in the middle of the shot right now. Yeah, it's those guys. See if there's any others anyplace else. Nope. Let me see where they're blocking the traffic though, so just in case they come back to us. Is that a Marxism? Did you just coin that word? I like both of those. Yeah, it's like you said, they're just kind of out here doing their own thing. They've taken about a block or so, and just milling about on the streets. And I agree. I think if they just run out of steam, they're just going to let them go. They are not protesting, guys and gals. This is an impromptu memorial for XXX Tentacion. And it is on Melrose Boulevard, basically between Spalding and Curson. Spalding and Curson. Large group out here. Some moshing going on. Some folks up on some rooftops. We saw some crowd diving earlier on, which is an extremely trustworthy thing to do. We don't know why they chose this spot. I don't know if any of the folks down there, or possibly it could even hear the audio that we're putting out. But yeah. That has nothing to do with XXX Tentacion. That's the lottery. Fire update. You guys see any fire out there? Just kind of look in the general direction. It's out. The fire is pretty much out. Of course, yeah. Active flame is out, guys. Active flame is out. Frank, you're right. As long as they basically stay within some kind of parameter of the law. Ooh, listen to me. They won't, the LAPD won't come in here and force and, like, you know, with the batons and the shields and the riot stuff. Jared is watching. Now we all have to behave ourselves. The biggest critic has entered the room. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe Jared is down there. Jared, can you give us any information on why they chose this spot? It's hard to hear me. I don't know why, Jenny. I might be on your end. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Okie dokie, as long as the anchors know the same information, I will mention the store, but I will not mention the name because of profanity. But we could say off some. Liz, this is not a protest. Miss Ball, I suddenly question your friendship-making abilities. I'm just playing. Jared's a friend of mine. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. What? Yeah, that's the way we're probably going to go over to Burbank. Go to Burbank and hang out there for an hour and then be late for the top of the 10. All right. Okay. All right. So so are we clear to depart? Copy all. Copy all. All right, I'm sure you guys are listening to what we're talking about and saying, we're going to go get fuel in Burbank. So that's our plan right now. That is the Griffith Observatory through some haze. And that's where the fire was. Go. That's where the fire was. So that fire pretty much knocked down right now. You people were asking. You people. Zoot Suit Riot. Oh, man, that makes me think of the movie 1941, 1942. Anyways. Okay, stickers. Everybody's asking about the stickers. I guess we're going to keep this up for just a little bit. Yep, Aguardo, we know about the store. We saw the sign, and I was promptly told not to show that sign. You guys are asking about the stickers. Right now, self-addressed stamped envelope. You guys can find it, how to get to me that self-addressed stamped envelope. And the way it stands right now, it's going to be at least another, probably about a week and a half until we get more stickers. I just ran out again. Matthew, I'd expect you guys to eavesdrop, and I'm proud that you are. Katie, we are clear to depart, unless you were working for the station and you're saying that we're not. Out-of-towners get it, same way. Self-addressed stamped envelope to me, Stu Mundel. Somewhere on my Facebook page, you'll find somebody that'll tell you, or you'll find the address written down. The only reason I'm being a little weird about it is because I'm really, it's costing me money. That's what it is. Shelly. Oh, Shelly, we're going to be back. Don't even think we're done. We're going back. We're getting fuel so we can stay there to the end. A hoodie, yeah. See that? There you go. Give a sticker, and then they ask for hoodies. Love you, brother. The sticker is 5x3, so just a regular size envelope works. Yep, we are working our way over to Burbank Airport, Bob Hope Airport, Burbank Airport, however you want to call it. We just made our way through the Cahuenga Pass. That's going to be the 170 north, winding its way out there past the 101. Gotta gas her up? Yes, you do. I don't know if it's a she. I don't know if 29's a she. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got to be careful with that because I don't want to lose my job. But, yeah. Rob. Rob is texting me right now. This guy's funny. What accused of? What are you talking about? Shelly, that's that guy's dead. He's dead. The rapper XXX Tentacion is Tentacion is he's dead. And it's an impromptu memorial is what we're looking at. That's what's going on there. Chad, I know my truck. I named my truck Austin as an ostentatious because I can't really say everything because my wife would have to say it. But we named my truck ostentatious. And my truck is a guy. There's no doubt about that. Yep, going to HR. I got to be careful. I make all these jokes and then it happens and it's not funny anymore. Why are we slowing down? What's going on? So that aircraft right there is going to be landing at Burbank. He has the right of way, or she has the right of way, whatever you want to call it. And so making their way for their landing. As soon as they are out of our way, there's something called wake turbulence that they're going to warn us about. And then we're going to make our way over to beautiful Atlantic. Now you're going to say, what's Atlantic? Atlantic's like it's an FBO. FBO stands for Flight Base of Operations. Basically just think really, really fancy gas station. That's where we're going. You want me to follow it? I will follow it. I'll follow it all the way down to the ground. He's on the ground. And we're going to go right there.